It's 1900 GMT. Good evening. Welcome to News Night on Metro Television. We're live from our studio here on Dr. Iset Street, North Region, Accra Live on DSTV channel 277. My name is Noble Crosby.
And I am Ifia Fuswa. Coming up in the next 60 minutes. Member of Parliament for Medina warns Ghana's bilateral relations with its development partners will be severely affected should a proposed LGBTQI+ bill be passed. We'll bring you a fierce debate by activists on the bill.
Also in this bulletin, Ghana's delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament hint the country's laws will be reviewed to allow Nigerians in the retail business, a move being strongly opposed by the Ghana Union of Traders Association.
And in sports, Tokyo Olympics officially begin under specter of pandemic, with the Ghana team making prominent appearance at the opening ceremony.
Later in entertainment, former manager of hip life artist Famia faces off with a musician over claims to songs produced under the OGB music label following Famia's departure from the label.
And later on the international front, former president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise, buried 2 weeks after he was shot dead at his official residence by a paramilitary. Details of these stories and many more coming up in the next hour. Please stay.
You're welcome to the program. Our first story. A new anti-LGBTQ+ bill cited by Metro News will see corporates face a jail term of up to 10 years depending on the crime if passed in its current state. Now, before we bring you a report on the new bill, let's take you back to June 29 in Parliament when some MPs gathered to pray against LGBTQI+ activities and also hear from one of the campaigners of the bipartisan private members bill, Sam George, and also the Speaker of the House at the meeting.
Our traditional religions, Christianity, Islam, are all religions that preach love and peace. And that is what this bill does. This bill does not preach hate. It preaches the saving love of our Savior to all those who are in need. This bill looks to criminalize not just the activity, but the promotion, advocacy, funding of homosexuality in all of its forms. And so it will become criminal upon the successful passage of this bill into law for anybody to produce any promotional material, any TV station to show content that supports it, anybody who wants to provide funding for LGBTQ activities and those engaged in the activities. This bill doesn't just end there. It goes ahead to segment those who are engaged in LGBTQ. We've established clearly that homosexuality is not a human right. It is a lifestyle choice. And so we respect the human right of practitioners of homosexuality to get a free and fair trial. However, their sexual orientation and choices cannot be deemed to be a human right, and this is in consonance with the 1992 Constitution of Ghana.
We have spoken with one voice that we don't want anything to do with whatever terms they add, because there's still no end yet. We cannot be threatened in our homes. This must be stated loud and clear to those who have come to do business in Ghana, those who represent their countries and think that they are right. We also represent our country. And they can never dictate to us as to how to live or not to live in this world. And I'm very clear in my mind that this House, the Parliament of Ghana, will pass this bill as
The 36-page bill dubbed Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021 is yet to be sent to Parliament for consideration in order to criminalize the act. There's more in the following report.
Details of the yet-to-be-passed bill reveals individuals of the same sex who engage in sexual intercourse are liable on summary conviction to a fine of not less than 750 penalty unit and not more than 5,000 penalty unit, or to a term of imprisonment of not less than 3 years and not more than 5 years, or both. This encompasses any person who holds out as a lesbian, a gay, a transgender, a transsexual, a queer, a pansexual, an ally, a non-binary, or any other sexual or gender identity that is contrary to the binary categories of male and female. Anti-LGBT+ legislators had earlier hinted at ongoing deliberations on a document to render the group's promotion and advocacy illegal. Ningo Prampram legislator Sam George and 7 other members of parliament, including the MPP's John Intim Fajo, drafted the bill, which they are seeking to introduce in the House as a private member's bill for the necessary approval. On 29 June 2021, they symbolically submitted a copy of the draft bill to the Speaker, Abang Bawin, for his review at a meeting of the Parliamentary Christian Fellowship. The Speaker is expected to create a window on the floor of the House to allow the MPs to formally move their private members' bill soon. But portions of the draft which hit the internet on Thursday has reignited a conversation about its nature and scope, with many impugning potentially far-reaching human rights violations, including that of allies. It proposed that a person who, by use of media, technological platform, technological account, or any other means produces, procures, market, broadcasts, disseminate, publishes, or distribute a material for purposes of promoting an activity prohibited under the bill, or a reason or a person uses an electronic device, the internet service, a film, or any other device capable of electronic storage or transmission, promoting an activity prohibited under the bill, commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 5 years and not more than 10 years. The draft also suggests that persons who engage in activities that promote support, sympathy, or a change of public opinion towards an act prohibited under the bill are liable on summary conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 5 years or not more than 10 years. The bill is also proposing the disbandment of all LGBTQ+ groups, societies, associations, clubs, and organizations. All groups in existence before the bill came into existence and are intended to promote such activities are to be disbanded. Persons who contravene this provision could face up to not less than 6 years or not more than 10 years in imprisonment. But some 51,000 tweets generated since the issue went public have relayed some thought on the matter. Some social media users say the seeming antagonism against pro-LGBT activism as indicated in the draft is unwarranted. While some users support the development, many others also claim the vagueness and broad scope of infringement range per the bill gives wiggle room for its abuse.
Well, the Member of Parliament for Medina constituency, Francis Susu, told Metro News that the introduction of the LGBTQI bill to Parliament for consideration will bring sanity and finality to the practice which most Ghanaians consider alien to our culture. He is, however, warning of serious international consequences as Ghana's bilateral relations with its development partners will be severely bruised. Let's have a conversation on this and speak with Robert Akoto Amoafo. He's a former country director of Amnesty International. We'll bring you that story later. Robert has joined us online. Robert, thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. Let's start with this. What are your thoughts on the new bill? Do you subscribe to the school of thoughts that it is dehumanizing?
Thank you for having me, and good evening to your viewers. First of all, my reaction is that it is unnecessary. It is against every tenet of human rights protection, as our constitution requires us to have. It is just a whims and caprice of some religious bigots and some people who are using this as a political tool against a vulnerable community, when there are serious issues that need to be addressed in the country. They try to focus on issues that would inflame passions unnecessarily. And I think that it is not necessary. If we want to protect LGBT people, there are laws that can protect people. If we believe that people are demonically possessed or ill, there are ways to look at them than give them imprisonment and fines that are unnecessary for private acts of people.
Robert, the long debate is how to reconcile upholding the cultural values of the nation while also ensuring that these people's rights are equally protected. How do we strike the balance in a situation as this?
Every cultural value that we are aware of, and our constitution also talk about, that are harmful and that are supposed to be prohibited. So any activity or action that is harmful even to another person is not supposed to be encouraged. I'm yet to see anywhere that these people who are proposing this law are able to frantically show that by two consenting adults having sex in the privacy of their home, where the government is not allowed to be at the night or whatever time they want to have it in their rooms, concerns other people who are supposed to be making laws and preaching to us to look at our lives and become better people than we have now. So for me, that is my concern, that people may say it's their culture, but we are not all the same. And people may have grown as adults to realize that these cultures do not serve them, and therefore they may not be abiding by them. And maybe people have grown out of all sorts of things. So why would one group of people decide that this is our culture and therefore we want everybody to go by it, when there is no proof that this harms anybody in the process?
Okay, so there are some who have argued that our handling of this particular issue could have some serious international consequences on us as a country. What's your take on that? How should we be handling this issue so far as protecting our international relations are also concerned?
The key thing is protecting human rights of all persons, as our Constitution says in Article 12. It says protect the human rights of all persons. So once we do that and we ensure that children are in school, we see that our government is working towards ensuring that there are jobs. We see that the MPs are focusing on building laws that will build systems that will prevent corruption and will focus on issues that will help us grow as a country and limit government control in areas that you have no business in. Then we would have international attention and investment. Currently, majority of the amount of our budget is financed by foreigners. And so it's very sad that we will have people thinking that it is only LGBT things that foreign people fund. It's wrong. Whatever funding that comes from the international community funds schools, funds things that will help protect people. Now, people will talk about advocacy and promotion. I think that it is important. It's clear that in the law, the framers of this law do not understand what LGBT advocacy is. What it is that it is protecting LGBT people because already our so-called culture, religion, and other people are already causing harm to the LGBT community, and therefore the advocacy is not to promote something that is not acceptable. It is to protect people who are suffering from an already existing system that oppresses them and cause harm to them. And that is one of the things we are seeing today in our laws, and that will not...
Robert, before you take leave of us, and very briefly, the bill is yet to be laid before Parliament. What interventions, I'm sure that's sort of as good news for you, what interventions could you make to prevent it from being laid in Parliament, and what is the way forward in this situation?
At this stage, I'm sure it will be laid in Parliament and it will be discussed. And I think that the most important thing is that we give, as advocates, we give the right information to our MPs and draw their attention to the way this law will harm a lot of people. I've heard Sam George, the leader of the group, Honorable Sam George, trying to explain this, and people keep asking questions. This shows that this law is not clear. If it is adopted, it is going to cause havoc. If you look at the laws in Uganda and Nigeria, where they have similar laws, the police take advantage to go into the privacy of people's rooms and forcefully accuse people and extort money from them. So I'm sad that our MPs are not learning from other jurisdictions that are similar to ours. Right. So for me, I think that's important that we continue making them aware that what they are causing would be not only for people today that they are seeing as LGBT, but possibly their family members or their children in the future who may be harmed by this law that they are.
Robert, I would like to thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. You'll be speaking with Robert Akoto, Amwafo, former country director of Amnesty International. This is Newsnight on Metro Television. Let's go for a quick break. We're back with more stories.
Did you know that cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it? Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchief. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. For Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For bill purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
Opia says AC, Tresse, it will gold-plated things. Yet the copper pipes for Pebinaye. Gasia, and for how Biam Rodas and Ibia, and the goom. And yet the day, Tansu of 4-in-1 filter system. 80 from a free mubano. Aye kroji. AC, yet the horsepower neto. I sense Cassa a 2.5. Aye 2.5. Kululu pianim. Yet the Abapimo. Aye high sense AC super promo. Date near 26 July. I come him 8 August 2021. Upe Asia F. Na eche. Na chili. Na power. Aye high sense AC. Comfort to hear me. 26th July. I come him 8 August. Madam Hisense. Matiti Suze. Who? 5 years warranty. Eda Sutia. Hisense and Kwane to me yes amount. Hisense. Everyday prices for everyday people.
You're welcome back to Newsnight on Metro Television. Let's bring you more stories now. A member of the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values, Dr. Samuel Ofori Owona, and a board member of the LGBTQ+ Rights Ghana, Rosalind Mode, had a clash over a fresh LGBT+ bill yet to be laid before Parliament. The bill, if passed in its current state, will see culprits face a jail term of up to 10 years depending on the crime. The two struck to very extreme positions during an interview earlier on Metro News. Whereas Rosalind Mode says the bill is dehumanizing, Dr. Samuel Ofori disagrees and tags LGBTQ+ as demonic, which needs to be addressed. Take a listen.
What we have put down is for protection of the LGBTQ people. We have a comprehensive program. We are not interested in destroying lives. They are brothers and sisters. We know this thing has been there from way back in secondary school. In fact, this thing dates back as far back as Sodom and Gomorrah. We are aware. What they are looking for is legitimacy. They want this thing to be approved as a human right. They went to Strasbourg International Court for Human Rights in 2016-2017. 47 international judges were assigned to address the matter. All of them voted unanimously against this thing that it cannot be a human right, and they added that they have no right to impose it on any nation.
This bill reeks of hatred, pure hatred, bigotry, intolerance. It is, like somebody said, dehumanizing, and it reeks of neo-colonization. If anything at all, it is the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights, in quotes, and family values that have been the ones seeking far-right extremist hate groups, known extremist hate groups, from the US and other parts of the world to come and bring their rhetoric here, exporting their hate and bigotry here in Ghana, and imposing their religious ideas and interpretations onto other people.
I'm passionate about the matter. Please, stop it. That's how I get angry. Stop it. Because I sat down and listened to all you were saying.
No, you didn't.
You can't behave yourself that way. Let's stop the discussion. This is the attitude of the homosexual. They are bullies.
Right.
If you don't know, they are bullies. They try to rape angels in the days. They try to group. They try to rape angels.
Doctor Ona, hold on.
And luckily to us, most of Africa has been able to come out of it. South Africa, Mozambique, countless countries. Some never even
South Africa is because of the whites there.
All right.
Not because of the whites there. We are not talking about white people. This is coming from a place of movement, and it's a place of faith or a place of bigotry.
Now to an earlier story, the Member of Parliament for the Madina constituency, Francis Sosus, told Metro News that the introduction of the LGBTQI bill to Parliament for consideration will bring sanity and finality to the practice which most Ghanaians consider alien to our culture. He is, however, warning of serious international consequences as Ghana's bilateral relations with its development partners will be severely bruised.
This bill is definitely a bold attempt to try and create some sanity within that space, particularly when it's been on the table and government upon government have taken positions against it, and yet we at the legislature have not taken any definite position to do something about it. So for me, it's a bold step. It would have serious consequences. I can assure you this is going to have international consequences. It will affect funding in certain circumstances, in certain spheres or in certain quarters. It's going to affect certain types of donor funding. It is going to destroy certain relationships, friendly relationships. It most likely may destroy certain even bilateral relations. However, we have a choice to make, and I would rather be on this part at this time of history in Ghana than be on the other side.
Thank you. Meanwhile, some Ghanaians have been sharing their views on the proposed bill. They have been speaking to my colleague Zoe Anita O'Day. Take a listen.
Yeah, lesbianism, we didn't like. Muslim, Christianity, we know they like for Ghana here. If they catch you there, they for jail you, like 20 years safe.
Yes, I'm in support of the first part of the bill that talks about them being jailed when caught in the act. However, my question to that is that when you look at the way our prisons are, we don't really even train. The prisoners hardly go for serious training when they are in jail. If you jail them, I think they should be given some sort of psychological help such that when they come out after the 10 years, they will not be easily influenced to go back into the act.
The move for our leaders is we back them concerning the lesbianism and then homosexual, and the bill that coming to pass to abolish or whoever conduct, involved in serving such act should be imprisoned.
10 years for corporate. My personal view is that that's even on the low. This is a no-no. Why would anybody want to relate with the man on man, woman on... It's complete nonsense, isn't it?
This is my personal opinion. If we accept these kind of things, I think animals are better than us. So I respect everyone, the freedom of everyone, but there is a limit for everything.
And to other stories, Justice of the Court of Appeal, who doubles as the judge in charge of the Alternative Dispute Resolution, Justice Irene Charity Labi, has called on all Ghanaians to make good use of opportunities that come with the implementation of the Alternative Dispute Resolution ADR system. Justice Irene Charity Labi made the call at the launch of the ADR week in Tamale. So let's now have a conversation on the back of this, and we have been joined via phone by the National Coordinator of the Alternative Dispute Resolution Week to assess its celebration this week. Now, thanks so much for your time on Newsnight. What's your assessment of the ADR week? What were your key objectives and have they been realized?
Thank you very much. Yes, I think that per the assessment we have made at the close of the week, we were able to carry out all the activities that were set out for the week. The first being the mass settlement of cases in the ADR courts. Feedback we had is that all the courts, made cases available for mediators. We also were expected to carry out capacity building for judges in the Upper East and the Northern region. That was also carried out. There were also refresher programs for mediators in these two regions, as well as capacity enhancement for staff of the judicial service. All these things, by the grace of God, have been successfully carried out, and participants actually were refreshed, and we look forward for enhanced performance going forward.
Now, calls for people to resort to ADR so far as resolving their disputes have heightened in the past days. Would you say, what in your assessment, how would you rate resorting? Would you say that we're having more Ghanaians resorting to the ADR system as compared to before?
Yes.
So how would you rate it then?
As we keep indicating, we have since 2005 been interacting with Ghanaians, and the program does not seem to be new any longer. We only emphasizing the importance of the program, and so the rate is very high. It's in the region of between 48 and 50.
I see. Okay, so what other measures do you intend to put in place to even make it increase more?
Please come again.
I'm asking, what other measures do you intend to put in place to ensure that more people resort to ADR?
Well, the interventions are that the courts involved in ADR will do regular sensitization of court users. Judges also have the ADR program as a tool for case management. In our case management conferences, pre-trial sessions, and even in other processes of the court, ADR has been incorporated by the rules of the court. And so today, if you find yourself in the court system, one way or the other, you will encounter ADR being an option for a disputant.
All right, thanks so much for speaking to us on Newsnight. We have been engaging the National Coordinator of the Alternative Dispute Resolution Week, Alex Nett. You're live on Newsnight on Metro Television. We go for a break and we're back shortly with more. Do stay.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room set, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with your U-turn bus needs has been made easier and convenient with SA Automobile. SA Automobile, formerly U-turn Ghana Limited, has been in the business of offering quality U-turn products and services at competitive rates. At SA Automobile, our team of expert staff, management, engineers, and mechanics professionally deal in the sale of U-turn buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at a highly effective workshop with remarkable speed. We also have available the sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020-000-0831 or 054-555-7500. You can also email us info@saautomobilegh.com or visit our website at www.saautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
Welcome back to News Night. Business News is up next, and Winston Taki is standing by for the update. What have you got, Winston?
Thanks, Crosby. Still, the issues concerning the trade relation between Ghana and Nigeria is still ongoing. I'll still bring you updates on forex and commodities markets. Stay tuned for more. Let's head off with Ghana's delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament has reiterated a submission by the Speaker of Parliament that Ghana's law would not be reviewed to allow Nigerians in the airtel business to end the old aid feud between Ghana and Nigeria. Speaking to the media ahead of the delocalized ECOWAS meeting next week at Widiba, leader of Ghana's delegation to the South Regional Parliament, Alexander Afenyo-Marken, stated all unfair trade practices in both Ghana and Nigeria must end.
Has created a lot of problems between us and Nigeria, and I believe that, as Right Honorable Speaker raised it, it's something that we need to look at it critically. I can say so, and then see how we can create a level playing field. But don't forget that Nigeria took a decision on importation of rice because they also identified a loophole that Benin had a relaxed system that allows rice to get into their market and other commodities, and they were spending so much in the agriculture sector to help grow the local rice economy. They noticed that yes, there is a free market for all, somebody can trade here and there. However, because people were taking advantage of the low tariffs, they would bring it to the Nigerian market, and the economy was collapsing in the area of rice production. What did they do? They took remedial step, and it's worked for them. So we may have to specifically look at how we are affected, and if there is any trading, any imbalance in terms of resource availability, in terms of the laws, we can specifically deal with it. And this issue of Ghana-Nigeria matter, ends once and for all. They are big brothers. We've worked together. This whole ECOWAS thing, it was really championed initially by Ghana and Nigeria. We played critical role. Ghana contributes a lot to ECOWAS. Nigeria does a lot. So I believe that we can do better than we've done so far.
Now, moving on, the Minister of Trade and Industry has given an assurance that the Commander Sugar Factory will be operational before the year ends. According to him, operational difficulties are being resolved to enable a smooth takeoff. Addressing Parliament, the Minister said a strategic investor, Park Agrotech Ghana Limited, has been approved by Cabinet to help revive the factory.
Working with the transaction advisors, the Ministry has painstakingly worked through these various requirements and requests from the strategic partner. And as part of these arrangements, Park Agrotech has applied for and has been granted 1D1F status by the Ministry. This will enable Park Agrotech to take advantage of the incentives and benefits as approved by Parliament for 1D1F registered companies, and therefore to commence operation of the Commander Sugar Factory expeditiously. Mr. Speaker, I have instructed the transaction advisor and Park Agrotech to ensure that the conditions precedent to the concession agreement and the roadmap for the opening of the factory is finalized by the end of August this year to enable operational activities at the factory commence before the end of the year.
The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, is calling for prosecutorial powers to deal with individuals and state agencies who misuse oil revenue. Speaking at the Middle Belt Forum of the 10 years of petroleum revenue management in the country in Kumasi, the chairman of PIAC, Professor Kwame Adom-Frimpong, explained that the committee needs to be granted such powers to flush out perpetrators of financial malfeasance of oil process. Here's a report filed by Metro News Ashanti Regional Correspondent Abdul Basit Suleiman, read to you.
Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, is a statutory committee established under the Section 56 of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011 at 815. The core objective is to monitor and evaluate compliance with the Act by government and relevant institutions in the management and use of petroleum revenue. This year's forum by PIAC in Kumasi was to engage the public from Western North, Bono East, Ahafo, and Ashanti region on the management and use of petroleum revenue. Chairman of PIAC, Professor Kwame Adom-Frimpong, highlighted numerous projects being financed with petroleum revenues. He said about 622 million cedis was used on physical infrastructure and service delivery in the education sector between 2017 to 2018, while over 31 million cedis was spent on physical infrastructure and service in the health sector.
Using oil money to fund the free SHS, but today you can manage it. What about tomorrow? If certain things come, unforeseen contingencies set in, and there's no money coming from oil, how are you going to fund the free SHS? So what we are saying that is good policy, but you should have alternative or additional sources. In case one is not good, you say you shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket. So in case one goes down, one can support.
The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah explained the rationale for the Petroleum Revenue Management Act.
Public Interest and Accountability Committee, by the friend of Petroleum Revenue Management Act. Now, Act 815. And it's Piaka and the no ambitious. No Jumedia or Medino or Moba no Mabechre Yemu. Sikana in your free fan wumuno. Adia Edi Aye, Skasen Yanya Samri.
The former vice chairman of PIAC, Kwame Jantwa, and Hajia Dr. Azara Bukari, the president of the Savannah Queen Mothers Association, raised concerns about petroleum revenues being overspent.
In the last 4 priority areas that were chosen, 92% of the oil revenue was used for free education. What about the other 3? So some of us are saying, perhaps at this material point, we should say that oil money for the next 4 years, we are using it for education. Oil money for the next 4 years, we are using it for electricity. oil money for the next 4 years we're using for sanitation, so that people can identify what the oil money has been used for.
One of the biggest issues that they are talking about is our roads, which is their concern, that roads should actually be part of the priority. And yes, roads is part of government's priority by the booklet that we are having. Education is part of government priority.
Now moving on, the Bank of Ghana has given approval to 11 out of 23 banks to pay dividend to shareholders in respect of the 2020 financial year.
Following the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the central bank introduced some regulatory measures that include the financial institutions meeting certain key requirements before they could pay dividend to shareholders. The move was to prevent any pressure on the city and the economy, as some of these payments were to go to investors outside the country. Some banks, including EcoBank Ghana, GCB Bank and CalBank, have already paid dividends to shareholders. Deputy Head of Banking Supervision at the Bank of Ghana, Ismail Adam, said at the UPSA Law School Quarterly Banking Roundtable webinar that the decision by the Bank of Ghana is to build robustness in the banks post-COVID-19.
On the Interbank Board today, the cedi has remained relatively stable in the past weeks, trading against the dollar at 5 cedis 79 pesos and against the pound sterling at 7 cedi 97 pesos. On the commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $73.61. Gold is selling at $1,802.70. Let's now bring you an update from the Forex and commodities market. That's it for business here on Newsnight. My name is Winston Taki. Ifya and Crosby is standing by for the rest of the bulletin.
Winston, thanks so much for bringing us business updates as usual. We go for a break and we are back shortly with the latest in sports with Phil John Corti. Please stay.
Accra, commercial capital of Africa, will host the 5th Ghana International Trade and Finance Conference, GITFIC, on the 27th of July 2021 at the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel in Accra at 9 a.m. prompt. This year's theme is Facilitating Trade and Trade Finance in AFCFTA, the role of the financial services sector. The event will host continental dignitaries including AU Commissioner for Trade, Industry and Mining, the Governor of the Central Bank of Ghana, the Governor of the Central Bank of Francophone West Africa, the Governor of the Central Bank of Francophone Central Africa, Director General of WAMI, ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, the African Development Bank, Ghana's Commissioner for Insurance and several others within the trade and finance space of Africa's economies. The 5th International Conference will be opened by His Excellency Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, and moderated by Mr. Prince Moses, General Manager, Asasi Radio. Critical and urgent continental issues on the Pan-African payment and settlement system within the AFCFTA and others will be discussed with apt solutions to influence regional and continental policies. Proudly sponsored by the Bank of Africa, the Bank of Ghana, GIZ Support Project for the AFCFTA and Asasi Radio. Visit www.gitfic.com to learn more and stay tuned in to Asasi Radio for more updates.
Welcome back to Newsnight. It's now time to bring you the very latest in sports, and Phil is here. Hello, Phil.
Hi, my dear. How are you?
I'm good. What's coming up in sports?
We're going to talk about the Olympic Games. We will talk about the chances of the Ghana athletics team. Then we'll focus on boxing. Up next, sports. Welcome back. My name is Phil John Quarty. The 2020 Olympic Games opening ceremony has been held in Tokyo, Japan, without the usual fanfare. Japanese tennis star Naomi Osaka lighted Olympic flame.
Grèce,
Greece,
ギリシャ、アメリカ合衆国。Mesdames et messieurs, la flamme olympique fait son entrée dans le stade.
Well, those are pictures coming from Japan. Meanwhile, the president of the Ghana Athletics Association, that's the former one, George Luto, believes that Ghana is not well prepared to be well in the games.
The usual story is no, we have not prepared enough. I've been watching Nigeria, Kenya, and they started long ago. We did not have the national trials in this country, Olympic trials, we didn't have any. You know, and we have, as usual, we have not prepared enough. We have not prepared enough. And you see, one athlete, I remember Aziz Zakari telling me, we don't prepare, last minute you give us money and you say go and win gold medal. We are not prepared. If you don't prepare well, you will fall out in the heats. You will not do well. You know.
Well, just before we wrap up the sports segment today, let's focus on boxing and the presidents of the Central and Western region of the Ghana Boxing Federation. James Chinto Walker has called on the new executives of the Ghana Boxing to focus on the regional outreach program.
Overwhelmed the way things went on successfully. I thought maybe there will be some sort of things that will maybe mar the beauty of the. It has been centered only Greater Accra, and that is my problem. Peter was the guy who was helping the regions. So I'm expecting these people to come and continue, because the whole thing is said that if you don't put a proper structure on the ground, boxing will never develop. Because for the past 40 to 50 years, you have never seen any boxing going on in the regions. They all talk about boxing in Accra. So I have decided to make sure I organize or establish boxing clubs at the community level, communities. Because when you get the box clubs, you can establish boxing league for them. The league too will be taking place every.
Chinto Walker talking about the regional outreach program of the Ghana Boxing Authority. That's it for sports. My name is Phil John Quarty. Harriet is standing by for Showbiz. Harriet.
Thank you, Johnny. It's time for entertainment news on News Night. There's more after this. Popular Ghanaian social media cook Sweet Ajeli has expressed her fulfillment about impacting the lives of her followers through her cooking adventure on social media. She spoke exclusively to Francisca Kakra-Forson on Good Afternoon Ghana earlier in the day here on Metro TV.
I am very excited when somebody reaches out to me to say, hey, because of you I've started a business. And many people telling you that? Oh, plenty. A lot of people.
A food business.
Okay. Like sobolo. People are making sobolo.
Yeah, I saw the sobolo and pineapple.
Yes.
I'm going to try that.
Yes.
I'll try and make that.
It's delicious.
It may be disastrous, but...
No. Once you soak it overnight, it's just ready. Not much. You can actually drink it without cooking it, but because you buy it from the market, you don't know. You just want to boil it.
Former manager of Hip Life musician Fameye and owner of OGB music record label Ogidi Brown has cautioned his former signee Fameye not to lay claim to any song produced during his time with the label. Ogidi Brown made this known in a post on Facebook earlier in the day.
We thought the drama between hip-hop musician Fameye and his former manager Ogidi Brown was over, the two had to be at it again. After making it known to the world that they had parted ways amicably, Fameye has incurred the wrath of his former manager Ogidi Brown after he got an alert from YouTube over a claim of copyright to music videos produced under OGB Music, which is owned by Ogidi Brown. In a post on Facebook earlier today, Ogidi Brown warned Fameye not to lay claim on any song produced under the label. He wrote, "Fameye Music, never try to claim the songs and videos I produced for you, else you will see another side of me. My brother, go in peace. Never even sing the song I produced for you on any platform. This is the last message for you. Ungrateful, next will be action." This was accompanied by a screenshot of the YouTube copyright message he had received. According to a statement released earlier this week by Fameye, both parties had parted ways on a good note, but with the latest development, it doesn't suggest so. There hasn't been any response yet from Fameye.
That's it for entertainment news. My name is Harriet Taddy. But before I move over to Crosby and Efia, go to YouTube, go to Facebook. Make sure you watch all of our videos, like, subscribe, and share as well. Over to you, Efia and Crosby.
Harriet, thanks so much for bringing us entertainment. Is now news from across the Ghanaian border. On the foreign front, pallbearers in military attire surrounded late Haitian President Jovenel Moise's body in a closed wooden coffin as his funeral got underway on Friday, July 23, 2 weeks after he was shot dead at home in an assassination still shrouded in mystery.
The attack was carried out by a group that included 26 Colombian former soldiers, at least 6 of whom had previously received U.S. military training.
Days garlanded with flowers in an auditorium and a Haitian flag was dropped on top of the coffin. Foreign dignitaries, including U.S. President Joe Biden's top advisor for the Western Hemisphere, flew to Cap Haitian to pay their respect to Moise, joining mourners who have taken part in a series of commemoration in Haiti this week. Moise was gunned down in his home in Port-au-Prince on July 7, certain of a new political crisis in the Caribbean country that has struggled with poverty, lawlessness, and instability. The assassination was a reminder of the ongoing influence foreign actors have in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, despite its becoming Latin America and the Caribbean first independent state at the start of the 19th century. The attack was carried out by a group that included 26 Colombian former soldiers, at least 6 of whom had previously received U.S. military training. Haitian Americans were also among the accused.
And on that rather sad note, we end tonight's edition of Newsnight on Metro Television. But before we go, a recap of our top stories. Member of Parliament from a
move being strongly opposed by the Ghana Union of Traders Association.
We also took you to Tokyo as the Olympics officially begin under a specter of pandemic, with the Ghana team making prominent appearance at the opening ceremony.
Former manager of Hip Life artist Fameye faces off with musician over claims to songs produced under the OGB music label following Fameye's departure from the label. That came up in entertainment news.
And on the international front, former president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise, has been buried 2 weeks after he was shot dead at his official residence by a paramilitary. Thanks so much for joining us.
TV channel 277. In current affairs, we have the latest political and social news. The Business Bit brings you up to speed with the happenings in the world of business, commodities, the stock and forex market. We also have the latest in the world of sports, plus news across our borders in our international segment. We're on air.
Hello and welcome to Metro News Night, live from our studios here at number 8 Avenue Extension here in Accra. My name is Noble Crosby Annan.
And I am Ifia Fusua. Coming up, our top stories now.
A very good evening to you and welcome to News Night here on Metro TV. I am Bryce Nanakwesi Amenina.
Hello, good evening. My name is Anya Fompopo and you're welcome to News Night on Metro TV.
I'll be bringing the latest in terms of sports right here in Ghana, Africa and the rest of the world.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Welcome to the 77%, the platform for you and I, young Africans. Here, we get to hang out and talk about things important to us. I am Michael Oti. On today's show, we'll share some roots reggae with you. Are you feeling irate? And here's what's coming up on today's show. We'll find out the truth about reggae and meet an inspiring Ghanaian reggae artist. Get ready for an adrenaline rush on Uganda's Mount Elgon. And rapper As1 takes us on a tour through his home city, Bissau. We start off today's show in Ghana. My home country has a strong reggae culture, and one of its most prominent artists is Abubakar Ahmed, aka Black Rasta. For more than a decade, the artist and radio presenter has been spreading political consciousness through reggae music. Let's find out more.
Abubakar Ahmed, aka Black Rasta, is laying down tracks with his band at this studio in Accra. With more than 8 albums to his name, Black Rasta is one of the mainstays of Ghana's reggae scene. For him, reggae is a platform to speak about issues affecting his society.
It is easier for me to put my message in reggae than any other genre. So I chose reggae music because reggae music already has the track record of militancy. That's why reggae music is word, sound, and power. Word, sound, and power is the message carried on the sound, and then it gives you power.
All right. The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it's linked up with a total.
Black Rasta's songs tackle history, politics, and religion. One of his most popular songs celebrates Kwame Nkrumah, a Ghanaian revolutionary and the country's first president.
Not to fool or carry water in a basket. You walk in the belly of the beast till your shoe sole drop off.
Black Rasta cites legendary reggae musicians like Bob Marley, Alpha Blondy, and Lucky Dube as his main influences. But he's also carved his own musical niche. He often blends Jamaican reggae with local African languages and sounds.
A lot of African people want to do reggae music, but they have the erroneous idea, the wrong idea of the fact that if you cannot speak Jamaican patois, then you cannot do reggae music. Jamaican people wish they could speak some African languages. Alpha Blondy broke through the market of reggae music with African languages.
Black Rasta is part of the Rastafarian community, a religious movement striving for unity amongst Africans and the African diaspora. Leaders of Ghana's Rastafarian movement say reggae music helps Rastafarians connect to their spiritual side.
The music is like the narratives in the Bible and other holy books. So that fullness is what you find within reggae music, and that is the spiritual side of it which I and I as Rastafari embrace and practice.
But Rastafarians aren't the only ones who love reggae music around here.
Charlie, reggae music is inspirational thing, Charlie. That be the thing. It's more than this kind of hip hop and all those things, because Charlie, even the pastors listen to reggae. Yeah, Charlie, if you want to learn about the Bible, go listen to reggae.
The lyrics of their songs, that's what inspires me. Sometimes when I'm depressed, I used to listen to reggae music, then I'll be okay.
In the afternoon, Black Rasta heads to the radio studio to host his primetime reggae show. he believes its popularity just goes to show how important reggae is to many people in Ghana.
What comes into your mind?
It's not because it is just reggae, but it is because the message that reggae stands for is what the people are listening to. And reggae is the only kind of genre that has stood firm and defined its message.
A message of unity and peace. For Black Rasta and other lovers of reggae in Ghana, the beat will continue to sound from generation to generation.
Unity, love, and peace. Hardly anyone preached that message more than Bob Marley. He is not just an idol for Black Rasta, but the icon of reggae music around the world. So why did his lyrics inspire so many people? How is reggae linked to African decolonization? And are there any dark sides to reggae? My colleague Les Shu tells you the whole truth.
Everyone in Africa knows who this guy is. Jamaica's most famous export, reggae superstar Bob Marley. Long after his death, Bob Marley and reggae music remained widely popular globally, but particularly across the African continent. So, what made Africans fall in love with reggae?
I wanna love you and treat you right.
Firstly, to me, it is the most pro-black African-centered music on the planet, to me. It is uncompromisingly black, politically black, culturally, racially, spiritually, whatever, African.
When I was growing up in Tanzania, my parents had this Bob Marley cassette we used to listen to for hours in the car. I still know the lyrics to some of the songs by heart. No woman, no cry. Buffalo soldier, get up, stand up. But back then, I didn't know that I was listening to a legend. Today, reggae still has millions of fans across Africa.
I normally listen to reggae every day.
Because the reggae taught me how politicians is. First, I don't know how politicians' life is. I always see they'll go and vote, do this. But reggae taught me how politicians is. Nobody taught me, not from school, but reggae, through reggae.
The mother and father of reggae, I must say, that would be Bob Marley. When we come to Africa, we talk about the late Lucky Dube.
That made me curious about why we Africans still love reggae so much and why many fans identify with this type of music. Before we move on, here's a brief history of reggae. The music genre was born in the 1960s in the Caribbean island of Jamaica. In the early 70s, it was popularized across the globe by artists like Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailer, Johnny Nash, and Burning Spear. Reggae became so popular in Africa that it even made a huge political impact. In 1980, for example, Bob Marley performed at the celebration for Zimbabwe's independence.
Bob Marley had the kinds of messages that were relevant to the time. They were relevant in a very universal and global way. The issues of struggle, the issues of defeating oppression, the situation in Zimbabwe, and the war, the ongoing civil conflicts there that he articulated on his 1979 album Survival, which I do believe is Marley's best album.
The sound of reggae seems to be one secret to why it's so loved in Africa. Lekentle Mhala sees a special connection between Africa and reggae in Jamaica's history of slavery.
The reggae music was made popular in Jamaica by the Jamaicans, specifically Africans who lived in Jamaica. So it's like they carried the sound of Africa to Jamaica, and they started to improvise, use what, it's in their genes, like the drums and that, to create the sound they call reggae. So when we hear it, Africa, like, listen to reggae, it's like, no, but I know this song. Not, you know, it's all the genetic coding that comes with the sound and the melody and the rhythm.
Many influential Jamaican reggae stars are Rastafaris. Rastafarianism is a religion and a movement that originated in Ethiopia. In fact, many Jamaican Rastas revere the former Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie and consider him a prophet or a deity.
For a lot of Rastas, His Majesty is Jesus. He's that Christ-like figure, the Redeemer, the ultimate Redeemer. So it's more than just him being the emperor, because they will link everything biblically right back to the line of David.
Now, what I've often noticed in my home country, Tanzania, is that people don't seem to have a problem with reggae, but they do have a problem with what some call the Rasta lifestyle. The dreadlocks, the songs that praise marijuana. Rastas are often met with prejudices across African societies.
The Rasta culture is embraced by high school and university kids, and only through the smoking of weed, not for its activism, not for its propagation of peace and love and unity, but mostly for smoking weed.
In Western countries, criticism of dancehall in particular has sometimes been that some of the lyrics are calling for discrimination and violence against members of the LGBT community. This homophobia is often believed to stem from the artist's deep religious belief that homosexual relationships are a sin. There's a campaign named Stop Murder Music that calls for reggae and dancehall artists to abstain from using hateful language and from calling for violence against gays and lesbians. While many African fans have conservative views on homosexuality, homophobic lyrics are not the reason why they would choose to listen to reggae. Reggae may have evolved a lot since the 1960s, and right now many
people are into other types of music. Many reggae stars, be it Alpha Blondy, Tekenja, Lucky Dube, or Bob Marley, are actually older or have even passed on. So is reggae still relevant to our generation? We asked around in Lagos, Nigeria.
To me, personally, I like reggae music. Most of people that I know that are singing the reggae music, they are real talented, so I like them.
I love reggae music, but not so much because some are interesting and some are not cool.
Reggae music, I love reggae music, but I don't know why people don't really like to listen to it.
People are not actually listening to reggae music anymore because now what is actually reigning is just the hip-hop and Afro music. So reggae is not really reigning like before.
The reggae style has evolved into dub and reggaeton, but the core message to emancipate